We're rolling.
Hey there, I'm Alyssa, and this is Speak Brown Girl, where we speak our truth on Black women, relationships, and religion. I'm a divorced mom of three littles, a digital marketer, and a theologian. I'm a feminist, womanist, and a strong Black independent woman. I like my comedy sarcastic, my traveling frequent, and my dancing a little hood.
And I'm Starr, a nonprofit professional by day and a real estate entrepreneur by night. More importantly, I am a new wife, a sister, a daughter, and a friend, connoisseur of spicy food, good coffee, and Black culture. I stand for the gospel, Black liberation, and head wraps. I am unapologetically a Black Christian woman.
And I'm Marvy. I'm a senior administrative assistant, actress, and woman of God. I enjoy game nights, exploring new places, meeting new faces, and anything animal related. Black music, culture, and church are where I find the most joy.
Thank you guys for joining us on season 2, episode 14 of Speak Brown Girl. Before we get into today's topics, we did want to remind you that Speak Brown Girl is now on YouTube at Speak Brown Girl Podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. And if you're a new or faithful podcast listener, don't be afraid to rate or review our show. I think that's it. We're going with you, Starr, on In the News. What do you have for us, Starr?
Yes. So, in the news this week, it is a good week. Trump is officially not the president anymore. So
Praise him! And by him, I mean God.
We are welcoming President Biden and Vice President Harris. How are you all feeling about that news? And specifically, how are you feeling about the celebration of Black women that has been happening since Inauguration Day?
Alyssa, you go first.
Oh, I'm not ready. How do I feel? I'm excited. I don't think I was excited for, Obama, but also I was younger and I wasn't as I feel like I wasn't as in tune with you know, policies and how these politicians really affect our change. Cause I think I was like, the first time he got elected, I don't know, we're not going to tell my age, but I am super excited that that we have Biden in office and we have the first female vice president ever, that has opened up so many doors for just us as women, period. I know that people are like, well, she's not technically Black. Women, period. That's period dot,
First woman, first person of color, first person with any Black heritage. I mean, it's a lot of firsts here.
It's a lot of firsts. And did I cry? I probably cried. I probably cried, not even specifically because it's her, but it's like, every single time that they tell us as in women, especially Black women, that we cannot do something, we take that as a challenge. Like, all right, bet, And so then I saw Michelle Obama show up and just her radiant beauty. And I was like, first off, sis, you ain't have to go off like this. Okay. This ain't your day, but you done stole the show. You done stole the show. She looked amazing. And she was as supportive as always, which is very nice to see Black women supporting other Black women. They have this photo where she's looking at Kamala and she's like, you did it, girl. And it was just like, oh, all the feels, you know what I mean? Because all in history we see is just white men leading this country. And I feel hopeful knowing that that it's not just, people always said like, oh, there can't be a woman president because women are too emotional. And I think that the emotion aspect of it is what we need to be able to break down a lot of these barriers that our country has had for so long. You know what I mean? I don't think that emotion is a bad thing. I don't think that emotion is a negative thing. I think that having emotion when you see homeless people prompts you to want to do something about it. And so I'm very excited for what's going to come. I did research all the things that Biden did on his first day, and that made me happy. And so, yeah, that's it.
I, for one, am just elated, y'all. I watched almost the whole inauguration, and like it's probably the first time I ever watched an
Yeah.
inauguration in its entirety or at all. I don't even know if I watched Obama's inauguration, honestly, but like this one hit different, all the way different. I was just like so emotional watching it, like from Jump Street, just like knowing that like, oh my gosh, this man's reign of terror is finally over. Like, oh my gosh, we get to experience a brand new day. And then when I saw them coming through with their outfits, so somebody made a comment on social media that was just like, basically the inauguration day was like a versus battle of peacoats because all the women came out in all the different kind of peacoats.
They were ready.
And I was like, oh, that's cute. I was like, oh, I guess that peacoat, like that T-length style is in style. Then Michelle had to come around with the trench coat, to the floor with the oxblood situation. And like, I was like, my mind was blown. And then I saw later on that each of the women strategically chose like Black designers to help outfit them for this day. And I was like, yes, like I love that we're supporting Black people, we're showing like Black people can come together. And like I love what you talked about with Michelle and Kamala, like giving her props and everything, because so oftentimes I feel like in society, like women are pitted against other women, and it always seems to be like a competition of some sorts, and like we can't get along, we can't be friends, it's all about cat fights and who's better than who and who got this. And it's like, nah, we can work together for a better America, for the greater good for our people as a whole, and especially as Black people. So like that was really encouraging just to see how Black women really have been given us, like it's not even like given a space, we had to fight for the space, we had to like claw tooth and nail to get where we are today in this political realm. And it's like all of the hard work is really paying off, and it's just so nice to see. And like, not for nothing, we really carried America on our backs this year, like as we always do, but it's like even more evident this election that happened, that Black women are really the ish, like you can't deny it. And we're really out here making changes, and I'm just excited about this breath of fresh air. I'm really proud of Biden for deciding he's going to do 15, or 16, or however many it was, on day one. He's going to sign all of those executive orders, like super excited, like back in the Paris climate agreement, like that's back on the forefront of people's minds, and like immigration laws and like all the things that he had put into action. If you guys haven't looked into those things, I really encourage you to see all of the executive orders that Biden signed on day one. So you can already see he's taking his role very seriously. So cover him in prayer. I'll tell you what, I was covering him in prayer when he was walking in that daggone parade, and then he would like sprint to go say hi to people. I was like, please don't do nothing crazy, because we know you old and we don't need you to trip on your first day. So I'm covering that man in prayer. If we need to put him in bubble wrap, so be it. I don't care, but we need him. So please, y'all, if y'all pray the whole of these 4 years, and we pray 8 years for this house, and we're believing good things. I'm feeling hopeful for the first time in a really long time, and I think that there's been a collective sigh of relief that many people have been expressing, even at my job. So shout out to this new party, but presidency that will happen for the greater good, I believe.
Yeah, I too am excited. I am kind of sad because I didn't get to watch the inauguration. I like was trying to sneak in between yesterday, but this week work is our like retreat week where we like meet and strategize and blah blah blah. So we have like all day meetings. And I was like, why would they make this week our retreat week? So I didn't even get done with calls until 6 p.m. yesterday. So I definitely missed the inauguration. And so of course I had to go and like catch up on what was going on, and I felt so left out. But and because of that, it's weird. Like, okay, it's President Biden. Like that is our president now, and Trump is gone. And I think it didn't really hit me until I went to like the news tab of my phone, and all of the headlines were about Biden and none of them were about Trump. And then like that was like, wait.
It's
this is happening. Like this is happening to where like I don't have to read about Trump's stupidity every day on the headlines. I mean, he might come out of the woodwork, but even his ability to communicate to people for the most part has been diminished, at least to the amount that people can control. Of course, he can find other means if he likes, but it was just refreshing to not have Trump in any of my headlines in my news feed. That was just refreshing. It was refreshing to just have a moment of celebration. We have these moments not very often, especially as Black people and Black women. We don't have a ton of like collective moments where we can celebrate. Typically, we're coming together to collectively mourn and grieve and be outraged, rightfully so, about different things. So it feels good to have to celebrate when we can celebrate some. And of course, there's so much work to do. There's so much work to roll back. And then there's so much progress to be made, even beyond what was happening before Trump was in office.
Mhm.
And while we acknowledge all the work, the vast amount of work that needs to be done, I'm just happy to have a moment of celebration and a feeling of hope and some sort of restoration. But we also need transformation in this country because although Trump is out of office, the people that support him are still alive and well. Um, but that's something we can deal with tomorrow. But this week we celebrate, and
yeah.
I'm super excited. I loved the fact that everybody came out and slayed. I love the like exalting of like HBCUs and Black sororities and the young Black woman poet and all of those things of like just
With the
celebration.
52-year-old Harvard graduate.
Amazing.
Yes. And who said she was to be president. And it was just all of this Black girl energy, like this Black woman magic energy. And I just love to feel it. I know that people are like representation is everything. And it's not everything, but it's not for not. So yeah, happy to see the work that's already being done. Biden also rolled back the restrictions that Trump put on government entities' ability to talk about race issues and to do racial trainings and stuff like that. So I'm glad he wrote those things back because that actually did affect my work in some ways. So yeah, I'm looking forward to more changes to come. So yeah, thank you, ladies, and let's hope for more good headlines going into the future.
Amen. And with that, it's story. It's Star. Sorry, Starry. You're supposed to sing your song.
Story time, story time, story.
This
It's been so long.
I didn't even notice I was like that. I was just like,
Alyssa, your
also,
face.
how many drinks do you have at your station right now? You are like,
Coffee. I like. Well, I never like. I really finish my coffee, but I want to finish
it's
this.
like 9 p.m. Why do you?
Well, actually, I was listen. The coffee will be sold a part of my brand, so I'm testing it to figure out which coffee I want to include.
Nice.
Okay.
So
Get a
that's why
pass.
I'm still drinking the
Coffee
coffee. I'm trying to finish it.
Like,
You said what?
get
No,
a
I
pass.
started it early, a little bit in here, but I want to finish it because I don't want to be wasteful, and I'm trying to like see which coffee I like better. So and I also have my water because I never record that. I'm like, okay, I'm thirsty. I can't focus. So
Marvelyn.
I have a glass of wine and a cup of water. So, I mean,
okay, so
see,
we just have different.
this is
Okay.
my water, by the way. It's a very large cup of water. This is not the wine. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody needed to know. So now on to story time. My story involves a young lady and a young man. I'm trying to like, I don't know, zhuzh this story up. It's like not really that interesting, but here we go. So basically, I was, on dating apps and what have you, and I matched with a guy who looked like he could be interesting. It was a young Black man. He seemed like he was a professional, and he had mentioned some stuff about Jesus on his profile. So I was like, all right, cool. and he was like, yeah, I'd love to meet up sometime. So I was like, all right, cool. So we decided to meet up at this cute little like coffee shop bakery in like Midtown Atlanta. So I get there and like he's like maybe like 10, 15 minutes late, I want to say. And I was like, well, that's weird. Usually I'm the late one, but I was like, trying to make a good first impression. So so he shows up and I'm like, oh, hey. And then he ended up like, he was cuter than his picture. And I was like, okay, well, you're excused. Sure. So he's like, hey, yeah, sorry, I was late. I got into a car accident earlier today. I was like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, I got into a car accident earlier today, but I didn't want to like cancel on you because I didn't want to make a bad first impression. I was like, we could have rescheduled. I was like, are you okay? Like, did you need to go to the hospital? Like, did the ambulance come? Like, what do you mean? You were in a car accident? I'm sorry, what? So he was like, yeah. I mean, it wasn't too bad. I think I'm okay. I was like, okay. I guess I'm flattered that you came. You probably have like a whiplash and you just don't even know it. Long story short, so he had done his research and like seen that I had a YouTube channel and everything like that. And he was like, he asked this question that a lot of people tend to ask, like, what's a beautiful girl like you? Like, how come you're single? Like, why are you on a dating app? And I was like, that's a great question. And instead of just being honest and just being like, hey, I'm single because I haven't found anybody, I was like, well, basically, I'm trying to figure out, how dating works in the 21st century. And I'm trying to start like a business of, creating events that is curated towards young singles because I've done speed dating and now I'm trying out apps. So this is more so for research purposes. Poor guy. So basically I was like, this is an experiment. I'm sorry you got into a car accident and still came here. But I think I was just trying to like make it sound like I wasn't like struggle bus city and like didn't need I don't know.
You were struggle bus city.
I was struggle bus city. I was struggle bus city.
Experiment.
I felt kind of bad afterwards when I realized what I had said. I was like, oh, I basically just told this man that he was an experiment to be like, yeah, dating apps don't work. And here's why. So I felt kind of bad about that. And he was like, yeah, basically, I feel like you can know pretty earlier on, like from like the first conversation, like whether or not like it will carry on to like another conversation. I was like, yeah. Because in my mind, I was like, this is not going to go on any further. And it didn't. But I did like text him later and I was like, hey, thanks so much for coming out. I feel really bad that, you came out and you had gotten into a whole car accident. And he was like, yeah, no, it's cool. Thanks for meeting up with me. And then that was it. Like neither of us texted each other the next day. Like I wasn't really banking on it because I didn't feel any type of connection. But yeah, that was my experience with online dating app. You said what?
I thought you were telling a different story.
Nope, that was the story. Y'all never heard that story. But yeah, I said like it wasn't really exciting or funny. That's the only one that I had that I can tell you about the man that got into an accident before meeting me. And I told him that he was an experiment because I'm trash. Alyssa, your face.
I just don't understand like why you would tell him.
I think it's this insecurity because like when you hear that, because like we as people tend to put like pressure on ourselves. So like when you're hearing somebody else say like, oh, like you're beautiful, like how come you're single? It's like essentially like, well, what's wrong with you? Like why are you single? Like you're
Everybody
beautiful.
says that though. Which one of us
Says that?
Yeah, but I kind of like took it to heart and was like, yeah, you're right. This is just an experiment. I don't actually want
Everybody is single until they find somebody. What you talking about? Everybody's
really, he's single. He was not.
But for him, and I asked him, and he's like, well, I just really haven't made the time for it because he had like some crazy job that he's like always traveling and what have you. And I was like, but yeah, I don't know. It was just my insecurity speaking, I guess. And then plus I really at the time I was actually looking into, curating events that would help singles find other people. Cause like I had thrown events where people ended up like, matching and going on dates afterwards. So I was like, hey, maybe it's a thing. So I'm going to do my research. So I like did speed dating. I did like one thing of speed dating and then I started on the dating apps. So I was collecting research.
How was that? You should tell us a speed dating story.
Ooh, speed dating story. I mean, like maybe that'll be, I mean, there's not really much of a story there. It was yikes.
How experience just overall?
The experience overall was not good. I did get a friend out of it. Excuse me, he was this really cute Indian guy. He was like a breath of fresh air because like for whatever reason, guys, not that I'm discouraging you from going on speed dating things, but like the guys that typically go to speed dating events are just like kind of nerdy. Like literally every guy, this was also in Jacksonville. So, there was no black guys there. I think there was one black guy who showed up and then left. Like he didn't even stay. He showed up and then he left. And then the funniest part was like after it was all over, like all the girls were like, yeah, there's like no guys here. And they're like, and the girls were just like, you want to go out to eat after this? And we're all just like, sure. So we like me and like 3 other girls went to Olive Garden afterwards and hung out. And
I didn't know speed dating was like real.
Yeah, no, people do speed dating. It's the second time. The first time I did speed dating was in Korea, actually. And it was a whole lot of Korean guys that were trying to practice their English. So none of them who were actually, I think, interested in like dating any of these women, because it was like an event that was run by English speaking people. I think they were literally just going to practice their English. Met another guy from that. And like we ended up being really good friends. And like him and his wife like came to visit me in Jacksonville when they were passing through and we had like lunch together. Yeah, he got married afterwards. Like he got married. Yeah, sorry, I didn't clarify that. So he got married to this American girl, I think while they were in Korea, I want to say. But we just stayed in touch and he was like, oh, hey, Marvelyn, you're in Jacksonville. Me and my wife are coming. Can I come visit you? And I was like, sure. So we had like lunch in Jacksonville together. So we're still kind of acquaintances. So like I usually will meet like somebody because I'm a sociable person. So I'll meet and talk to anybody. But yeah, speed dating, I would say try it at least once if you're single, ladies. It's not a horrible thing, but I would prefer the apps.
It's entirely too much to do a lot of them back to back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever been speed dating, Alyssa?
Absolutely not.
It's not horrible. I mean, like, I bet if there was like speed dating for like young black, professionals, it might be kind of cute. Maybe. No, you wouldn't come. If I threw a speed dating event, you wouldn't come.
No.
Not even because it's me and you love me.
Well, then I'm hosting with you.
Are you curating the men? Would you like? Would you set up a starting lineup or?
I mean, I don't know that I would have to like.
I wouldn't come.
You said what?
I said, I wouldn't come anyway because I'm married. But I'm just saying, like.
I mean, I would love to be able to.
Maybe.
I would love to pick the men and like go through their profiles and be like, if you want to participate, I have to approve you first. Like that seems a little elitist, but I mean, that would be dope. I would totally be down for that. But yeah, no, I think it would. I would just want it to be all.
First sight, they come in to recruit men for.
You said what?
First sight.
Married.
For married at first sight, they recruit people on dating apps.
Oh yeah.
Hey, what?
So on Married at First Sight, they recruit people on dating apps.
And same thing for like Love is Blind. I think they just like looked for people's like Instagram profiles and was like, hey, are you interested in this? Alyssa's like, that's disgusting. I would never.
No, I hate dates. I was reminded I know that I hate dates. That's why I don't go on them. And this week just reminded me of that.
Yikes. This is not the high one, right? Or this is another one?
Oh no, it wasn't the.
Sorry.
It wasn't the guy from the high. No.
Okay. And for those who don't live in Georgia, the high is a museum, not
That's a friend.
Oh, my bad. I think I said something I probably shouldn't have said, but yep.
That's a friend that wants to date me. But no, this is a guy from Bumble, and it just was not fun.
I'm sorry.
At one point, I started yawning. That's what happened the last few dates. Not when I went to the high, because like obviously we knew each other, but um my last two dates where I didn't know people, at one point I started yawning. They don't ask you about you. They don't really care. They just talk about themselves the entire time.
Did you like talk to the guy on the phone before you went on a date, or did y'all just talk on the app and then y'all were like, "Hey, listen."
When we met there, sometimes I do talk to them on the phone before. I
See, I
don't.
had a. You said what?
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I had a whole like vetting process, which maybe we can talk about that next time for like what was your vetting process for? I mean, we kind of touched on it once, but I had a whole process that I usually would go through.
Me, it just kind of depends on the person, and I just go like that. I'm not like as intense as some people, but
Maybe you can take a page from my book so that way you don't have to go on terrible dates. My book is super intense though, so I don't know if you want it. You
yeah.
might not date at all if you go through my book. 'Cause-
Also, I'm not that.
Now Marvelyn writing books on dating.
No, I had to help my friends out because like there's a whole science to it y'all don't understand. Like I had a
I know it's a science to it. I've been doing it longer than you. I've been doing it for 5 years. I know the science.
I know the things. I put y'all in. We have the same story.
Me and Starr used to do this together.
I was only on apps because of Alyssa. And then we kept you on the app.
Who done put you on?
yes, exactly. Each one teach one. But I'm telling you, there's some women out here that like had no idea because I had to help a friend out. There was one picture. It was kind of like a blurry picture, and it just said CEO was his job. And like they started talking. I was like, sis, no, these are all the things that you don't want. Like if he doesn't have more than one picture, like there's all these, you have to, does he show his teeth? Does he show his eyes? Is he only looking this way? Like, what is his actual job title?
Honestly, where they show their eyes and then you FaceTime them and they still got a wandering eye. And you like, how did you did you did you make that
I
one
remember your
eye?
story.
There's like literally, no, this is a new one. There's like literally 3 photos of him staring directly with no glasses on in the camera. We FaceTime this morning and his eye looking out the window and his other eye looking at me.
Alyssa, why does this keep happening to you?
And he had 3 photos where he stared directly. And I was like, were you able to
Maybe
just
he wasn't looking at the camera. Maybe he was looking out to the side and made him look like he was looking at the camera.
them 2 eye, they went 2 different directions.
Maybe it's like when he starts talking, like when he gets excited, like it gets
One of the eyes just wander off and do what it wants.
yeah. So like he could look at the camera to take a picture, but the second he starts like having to move around, like you turn your head this way, but the one eye is still looking this way, and then the other eye.
I'm not the right person for that.
I'm so sorry, Alyssa. Anyway, that's the dating story. And now on to our topic of the day. Sip this wine.
All right. So for our topic of the day, we are going to, I realize that in this podcast, we talk about sexism and womanism and feminism and misogyny a lot. And we don't really give you guys an overview or just a brief synopsis of what that is. So we're just kind of going to give you a brief synopsis of each thing or our personal definition of it. And then we're going to have a larger discussion about how these things take part in Black women and their relationships with Black men. Starr, do you want to talk about?
Yes, because I don't got textbooks definitions for you. I'll just read something off of Google.
What's the question?
Do you want to talk about like sexism and what that is, or um why are you blinking like that?
Because she about to go in. That's why.
I don't feel strongly. Sexism is when you discriminate against someone because of their sex.
You,
Um, yeah.
can you give us an example?
Um, an example is a like if there was a job that was traditionally done by a man and a woman applied for that job and she was not considered or offered that job because it was assumed that because she's a woman that she was not capable of doing that job. And so that is sexism.
Marvy, do you want to talk about misogyny?
Sure. So the textbook definition is a hatred or dislike or mistrust of women. And it can be seen in forms such as intimidation and abuse or sexual harassment, social shunning, and particularly rape. Those can all be characteristics of misogyny. I can't talk today. Misogyny.
And
Yeah.
massage noir is specifically a disdain for black women. And
Mhm.
so you see a lot of massage noir in society, but especially even in the community itself, there is a disdain for black women amongst black people, specifically black men.
Mm-hmm. So, I'm going to briefly touch on feminism and womanism because they're very closely connected, in case anybody didn't know. So, feminism is basically the advocacy of women's rights based on the equality of the sexes. And then womanism is basically, it's just like feminism. It's a form of feminism, but it's solely for women of color, especially Black women. Um,
Can I just add that womanism is also acknowledging the racism inside the traditional feminist movement that is
mhm,
led by white women and upholds white ideals.
mhm.
That's a good point.
That is a good point. Thank you, Starbeer. So I did want to just bring these up to kind of like give you guys a baseline. I know that we talk about them a lot to give you guys kind of like a baseline what these are in case you didn't know. But then I did kind of want to bring up, probably shouldn't,
Oh.
but I did want to bring up like the relationship guru Kevin Samuels. Um, and so a lot of what he has said, I'm going to read to you real quick what a PhD is. My ex-husband said that I am a PhD, which
Mhm. But
it
continue.
doesn't stand for the actual degree. So
Okay.
he said a PhD, this is what Kevin Samuels says. A PhD is a single woman aged 25 and up who believes her higher education and annual income increases her value to a high value man who is financially, socially, and mentally put together. And these type of women are more often than not marriage minded. They're not marriage minded. These women like the idea of a high value man, but because of dictating so much of their life's work to work, school, kids, they lack real relationship experience. They date beta males who they can control and dominate because they out earn your average male. But these women also have a hard time getting a high value man because what works with the beta man does not work with the alpha man.
I don't like these like gross overgeneralizations and blanket statements ever, honestly. So that's
But
my
when
first
we
thought on
use them, they're like, "Oh, that's not all, man. That's just the man you've been dealing with." So I think that even in this, like his frame of thinking and his uh his thought process or his insight, whatever he calls it, that he shares is detrimental to Black women, as well as detrimental when trying to build relationships with Black men. Because on one end, we have these men who feel like, oh, they don't feel like you are a valuable asset. They feel like you are a piece of property. And so it's far like as forward as we are taking the womanism movement, the feminism movement, women's rights and equality, there are still relationship gurus, or like, what am I trying to say? There's still a frame of thinking that can set us back when it comes to even trying to build healthy relationships with Black men as Black women.
My whole thought is like, I think people really need to assess who they're getting relationship advice from, or just any advice. Like, especially if you're a Christian, like seek out wise counsel from those who have a biblical perspective and who are successfully married or are going through a healthy relationship process. I don't know anything about Kevin's relationship history and where he currently is. He might have some insight from his own experiences. I think that people can always speak on their own personal lived experiences, but to offer that advice, if you will, to other people, I think that people always have to take it with a grain of salt. Like, I would seek out like professionals, people who have actually like studied like, marriage and family psychology or what have you, that actually can give you like concrete evidence and advice, based on, science and research and different things like that, not just a lived experience. Those lived experiences are important. But yeah, don't go out looking for a relationship advice from any Joe Schmo or any like relationship guru. Like, I know that that is a huge trend now. A lot of married couples, especially Christians, because I actually, follow some of them, like with the Perrys and like the Love Hour and the How Married Are You, I think is what it's called, with Belief and Yvette. Like, there's a lot of like couples out there, but again, they're not professionals. They can only give you their experience, and they can only give you, what they've read in the Bible. So all of that should be taken with a grain of salt and not as Bible or what works for you, because you have different lived experiences, you have different past traumas, different things like that you're going to need to take into consideration when looking at how you should fashion your relationships. What are your thoughts, Starr? Sorry.
I don't even know where to.
What was the even question? I don't even.
Let's start with the question, because I mean I can go all over the place. I can go. So just tell me, just direct me in where you want me to go.
So I read the PhD description to you in regards to Black men and Black women relationships. Do you think like that is further damaging the relationship, or like widening the gap between like Black families or potential Black families, or
that particular definition that you gave?
Yeah, that particular definition, because he's very popular, right? And so a lot of men are feeling like, to me, these are beta men that are taking his sucker advice. But also, there's nothing wrong with being a beta man.
Yeah, no. Star's just like gone. Oh, she was frozen. Just kidding.
Oh, I was like, what happened? You having a whole meal now?
No, chocolate. It's not very good. I don't like this one.
Okay, so do I think that the PhD is damaging to relationships with Black men and Black women?
Like that viewpoint.
I don't think that any man who subscribes to that belief system is worth trying to build a relationship with. I think that there's a false sense of, I don't know, like I feel like I don't know any man worth, excuse my language, I don't curse y'all, but I just have to say this. I don't know any man who's worth a damn who is listening to Kevin Samuels for relationship advice. Like I just have to excuse my French. I don't see it. Like when my husband listened to that, he was like laughing out loud and was like, "What?" Like I haven't heard any good man worth anything who's a man in that. And I also haven't heard any actual high value man who actually, like when I say worth, I mean like I mean in every sense of worth.
Wow. Yes.
And so and I don't think that what's his name, Kevin Samuels is. I think that his audience are low value, low vibrational Black men. They are not the men that you want.
Did
They're
you
not.
say low vibrational? You went to
Yeah,
vibrations now, Star?
I'm just saying that
Whatever it is.
what I'm saying is their mindset are like, and I say this because I've had conversations, on the internet with people, and like, you're not even comprehending what I'm saying. Like, I can't even have you don't have the range to have the conversations that we're having. And so I'm like, this, you don't have no money. you don't have nothing going on with your life. You can't even have a conversation with me about this. You can't have an educated conversation about this. Well, I'm not hooking none of my homegirls up with you, so I don't really care what you think. Like, I do think that it's important that as Black women, we don't start to subscribe to these beliefs about ourselves. Never let someone tell you what you're worth, what you can have, what you should have. I don't think that we should. I mean, because I think that there are a lot of Black women who have like Stockholm syndrome, to identify more with the misogynists than they do with women who are like them, and who also are like them, who have had success in life, not just in dating, but just in life and in dating, and just live like happy, healthy lives. And I also think that sometimes it can be this mindset of like, well, I didn't get that, so that means that you don't deserve. And so it's kind of like misery loves company. And that's what that reads to me. And I really think that I personally haven't heard anybody that I identify closely with relationally speak like that or defend that type of. I also think about whether, like whether like you can save everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's just like sometimes you just gotta like, you know what?
Yeah. Yeah. You said hands off. She don't even care.
I don't care what he got to say. If you're still listening to him, if you show me a man who is worth something that's in the amen corner. I haven't seen one. I can tell by the way that you even writing your comment in the comment section that I can tell. And then like they like to say stuff like, "That's why you single now." I'm like, "I'm married, sweetie." And then like, "Oh well." I'm like, "Yeah, because y'all's talking points are like are weak. Like the most you can say is that's why you don't got no man." Like, that's your only talking point.
That's my only thing that I'm supposed to aim for in life.
Yeah, that's the only thing that matters. Well, you might got money, but you don't got no man.
Oh, I'm gonna be crying with these dollars.
That was a crying this.
Crying in these dollar bills.
Crying in my Lamborghini, no. It's just, and that is misogynistic to like reduce a woman's aspirations of worth to beauty, but only beauty to the extent of what that is pleasing to a man, and that will get her a man that she wants. And to me, I'm like, that's such a shallow view of love and life and the relationships that it's just like, who wants you? I mean, I'm not sure if y'all watch Married at First Sight, but it's this guy on Married at First Sight named Chris, and he's supposed to be a Christian man, and he talks about how much money he has, but everything he talks about that he wants in a woman is all about physical looks and all this kind of stuff. And he was like, women just want him for his money, and I'm like, you seem like you don't have anything to offer but money, and I'm not even sure how much money you got. Like, I haven't seen anybody saying, "Ooh, Chris, let me have him." And so it's just like the delusion. Sometimes I feel like some of these men have that you think that you deserve like a trophy wife, and you ain't bringing nothing to the table but potentially money, and you trash. Like I don't know that many people, unless she's a gold digger, unless she wants a sugar daddy who only wants a man 100% for his money that has nothing else to offer.
And the thing is money can come and go. That's the thing that people need to like recognize. Like your money, his money, that could come and go. At the end of the day, you need somebody who's going to be solid and can like actually be supportive and like good company and like somebody who's forward thinking so that if that money goes, they have something else to offer besides just money. If that's all you trying to get with them for, then you're not really setting yourself up for a good future. Because you're gonna be looking at each other like, well, what are you gonna do now? What am I supposed to do with you? Like, why are you even here? You ain't got the money no more. Like, wait.
Yeah, and I think that like I'm really not interested in like the men who already think that way. I am interested in women who don't understand, like who might identify more with those types of men, but some of them are. It's kind of like the one people who blame the girls who were victims of R. Kelly's perversion and say they knew what they were doing. But those people, women who say that, also were women who were sexually abused as children. And so like it's that kind of mentality of like, but you were abused, so you feel, so now you victim blame and you take the side of your, against the Stockholm syndrome, you take the side of the abuser. And so I think there's some deeper psychological issues with women like that. But then I also think that like as we raise men as mothers and as aunties and as, you know, sisters and all these things, like making sure that we are not ourselves continuing to carry forth misogynist and misogynoir into the next future generations of men. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
What are you thinking?
That frame of thinking though is just like I said, it's very detrimental because it is taking us back to, when, and everybody always wants to relate back to when a woman was in the house, the families were no, mm-mm, mm-mm.
Now, when the woman was in the house, you was out philandering, so I don't even want to hear it.
Still had a whole family down the street. That's number one. Number two, we were in the house because we were not legally allowed to work. So it's not because we didn't want to, it was because we couldn't. And we stayed because we had nowhere else to go. We had no other way to get an income. And so
and like, socially divorce was taboo as well.
Yeah. And so and then the only other option you had outside of divorce was to be somebody's baby mama and get taken care of that way. Like be that second family down the street. But I think that this type of thinking and this frame of thinking is detrimental to Black women because it's screaming like our worth is just what men perceive it as. You know what I mean? And what they attribute to our worth. And I, for one, will not let anybody tell me what I'm worth. Like he was on there telling, it was another clip where he was telling this one lady, she's like, I'm 42. Last year I used to be 200. And he said, nope, you ain't gonna find a man. She said, well, this year I'm 160. He said, but you're 42. He said, you're already too old. You missed the boat. And if somebody were to,
why are you even why are you even calling him for advice?
Why y'all calling him? Because all he's doing is berating and belittling y'all. And all he's doing is literally raising up an army of narcissistic and manipulative men that are saying, if you don't fit into what I need and what I want, then like Kevin Samuel said, you ain't you don't desire a high value man. My ex-husband,
two dimes rubbed together. His comment section got two dimes rubbed together. I believe that wholeheartedly.
My ex-husband said that to me.
If you don't got two dimes rubbed together.
Yay!
I was gonna go off, but then I was like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
It's okay. Starr did it for you because she loves you.
Did it for you?
No. I'm talking about when he sent it to me, I was gonna go off. But then I was like, it's not
No,
worth
that's just like you have to think about it. If he is his target audience, you have nothing to worry about. Nothing.
it. That's not even the type of man I want. So
Exactly.
we
You're
good.
not together for a reason.
We good. And people are like, would you get back with him? That's not my type. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. But from now on, I'm gonna ask when I start dating, I'll be like, do you know Kevin Samuels?
Do you follow him?
Because if you do, but I think it's home for a lot of narcissistic and manipulative men.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, they literally hate women.
Yeah.
So like the definition of misogyny.
And it's like it's a ton of deep rooted issues. And I think that a lot of men are like misogynistic and they don't even know it. Like I said, I went out on a date on Monday. He didn't ask me nothing about myself. He went on for
He didn't ask you nothing.
no, he don't know what I do for a living. He doesn't know a lot. Nope. He went on about himself over and over again. In that time span, he told me how many sexual partners he's had.
I'm sorry. Wait, why did that even come up? That's like when the guy asked me if I ever had kids or pregnancy scares. Yeah. Why was he telling you how many sexual partners he had on the first date? Confusion. I'm a ball of confusion.
Me too.
Was he bragging about it? I don't get what the context.
I think
And
he was
how many was it? Because I'm curious now.
it was 3.
What? So why? So were you supposed to be impressed by that? Like, oh, so he's not a hoe? Like, what was his? I mean, obviously you don't know. What do you think his rationale was?
I don't know. I don't really care. I think that he
I don't know. I don't really care.
I think he was just trying to highlight his best, like put his best foot forward. He was like, dates make me so nervous. I was like, so are you like rambling because you're nervous? He's like, no. So this is how much you talk every time, and they're talking about, yeah, I'm so laid back. I'm so low key. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. He referenced like when he went on, like he told me, I think I probably heard about every single date in his life. He told me about when he went on a date with an Asian woman and she just wanted to sleep with him. And she like pulled his pants down and was like, oh, that's a nice size.
Wait,
So he hinted around the size of his member.
why say this to you? I'm so annoyed right now.
The entire time.
Did he text you afterwards? Like, did y'all have a conversation?
He did. He walked me to my car and he was like, you have a really nice car. What do you do for work?
Oh, now you want to know.
None of your business.
What did you tell him?
None of your business.
Oh, you said none of your business?
I don't care because it didn't matter. And what that brought to the forefront of my mind was like what Kevin Samuels was saying when he was like, men don't care what you do. They just, want a trophy on their arm. And I was like, and so the fact that you don't really care what I do or what I'm passionate about, it don't matter at this point. You asked me 2 hours later?
Yeah. I think some men actually don't really care, but
I mean, I know that's not all. I'm not speaking for all.
Right. No, I'm just saying that there is some truth to that. Some men don't care what you do.
Ladies, you want men who are curious about you.
Yeah.
Who are studying you.
Yeah.
Sign that they're actually interested in you.
Exactly. And not just the shell of you. And I think that that's one of the things that I get all the time, honestly. I get men who are attracted to like the outer, part of me. And then like the other part is like, oh, you act like a white girl. Oh, you like super corny. oh, you're this, you're that. And I'm like, do you even like me? You just like how I look? Oh, okay. No, thank you. Um, so hmm, that was all I had. Did you just go cross-eyed,
Did I? I don't.
Marvelyn?
I didn't mean to. I was looking at a screen and closing it. Maybe that's what happened to that guy. Maybe you just really notice eyes. Maybe.
I
Yeah, I look over there and my other eye go, see? See?
Starr
It's
looked like she about to pontificate
no,
something.
I was going to say I'm interested in having the conversation on a different episode about how we respond to misogyny. 'Cause I know, like, I feel like I was kind of dismissive to, not dismissive to it, but I really do think like those are the men that you should avoid, and you should not. And I don't want us to get like trapped into trying to appease misogynists. But I think that's a whole nother conversation of like going deep into like, so then as Black women, how do we show up and take up space in a world filled with these types of people? And I still have to do some thinking on that. So for another episode.
last comments, Marv. Me and Star kind of like went everywhere.
Y'all left me back at the station. Y'all just took off, and I was like, all right, y'all, just yep. Yeah, no, I ain't got nothing to add. Women just, yeah, be mindful of who you get advice from. That's all I'm saying.
Well, guys, thank you for joining our podcast show, whatever. Uh,
Oh, are we going to be doing a live show soon, Alyssa?
yes, we are going to be doing a live show. Oh, wait, Marvy, it was your birthday.
It was my birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Start where you at. Happy
I was waiting for your next line.
birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Marvy. Happy birthday to you and many more.
Birthday to you.
Back it up.
Birthday to
Black it up. Black it up. Yeah.
Happy birthday. Happy.
Shoulders hurt.
Okay.
I worked out too much this week. What's going on to my thighs? All right. Well,
Wait, before we go, can I just say something really quick?
sure.
I don't know if this is something that we want to do in the future, but I kind of want to like shout out Black owned businesses like whenever we like find one. Is that like a thing that we could do sometime?
You
Kind
got
of like free advertising, sort of. And if there's something that you would like to have advertised maybe on our podcast, you can send us the item. We can send you our mailing address if you would like. Just send us some free things because I like free. So and then you can get some advertising. But there's this really cute company called Black Joy, and I got this really cute gift from this really cute girl. And it has all these really cute stuff in it. Starr outdid herself. So we found this really cool company, and it is called Black Joy. And it comes with, and it's like, you know, from all kinds of like Black owned companies. And I guess they like, you know, put together little gift boxes. This one is like an afterglow mix was in this. This is like a little sponge, it looks like washing. Then there's like a little candle that comes with it. I don't actually know. 3candlecompany.com is who this one is from.
That's there in Atlanta.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I don't know if it's all local, but I know that they're all Black owned. You said, what is it?
They're not all local, but
they're not all local, but they're all Black owned. So yeah, if you are looking for like a cute gift, and even because Valentine's Day is coming up and you might be like, ooh, I want to like send a Valentine's gift, I would definitely check out this company called Black Joy, and it's BLKJOY.
Black Joy Box. I'll say they're also a new company, so you know, go support. And I think they do seasonal boxes, so they'll change. The boxes will change seasonally, so you can continue to support them.
Yes, we're all about supporting Black businesses, especially Black women. Oh, and then they also came with this big black T. So yes, support, support, support. And then if you are a Black owned business, we would love to check y'all out. So send us your info and send us your stuff. Yay!
Thank you very much. All right. Speak brown girl.
Yeah.
Out.